Even among the contrasting group of boxing legends, Shannon Briggs is just something else.
The champ is here!
And Jones, beaten by Bone Crusher Smith, Tony Tucker.
There's a left hand.
The last gangster of that glorious era had been altering jawlines since the early 90s. Scored a record number of first-round finishes.
Position early. Watch out for that first one. And Bowman goes down.
And donned the championship belt in the 2000s. He's still relevant these days, extravagantly weaving himself into sporting folklore.
Let's go, champ!
Today we recall the high-voltage knockouts.
Away from the game. Now there's a couple of left hands and a big right hand.
And the wild antics of this explosive pugilist that earned him the nickname, the Cannon.
Let's go, champ!
Shannon was born in 1971 and comes from the same New York City neighborhood as Riddick Bowe and Tyson. It was Iron Mike who once scared Briggs stiff in Bristol Park, inspiring the scrawny, asthmatic boy to start pumping iron.
I'm glad I didn't win that day. Well, it changed my life. Because I was looking at you. I was a little boy. I was looking at you. And I said, man, I want to be like that. I want to come on and people be scared.
However, Shannon's life beat him down worse than older kids on the block ever could, and his drug-addicted single mother couldn't save her son from homelessness. Tyson had become the undisputed world champion by then, earning millions as an iconic figure. The destitute Briggs once again followed the example of his ghetto neighbor, and at the age of 17, settled in the local gym, where the coach allowed him to stay at night.
She said, well, if I buy these boots, you're going to have to knock them out fast because, you can't breathe after, second, third round. I said, don't worry. I'm going to knock them all out in the first round.
By 20 years old, Shannon's mane of hair was almost as impressive as his amateur career, where he captured several titles and became the third best heavyweight in the U.S. The prospect's sheer physicality grew alongside the weight on the barbell. And soon he was recognized by the sports elite.
You like that?
Despite missing the Olympics due to an injury, Briggs caught the eye of Tyson's former coach, Teddy Atlas. He took up the young prodigy, convincing him to join the pro ranks in July 1992.
First professional fight.
Chained by amateur restrictions no more, Shannon quickly realized things get real when money is involved. He hurried to call an ambulance.
He's got his own designer. Good left hook by Briggs.
Good body shot by Briggs. And a straight right.
But not for himself.
And you saw it.
He doesn't want to.
Getting his first KO with body shots, Briggs proved he was ready for the big leagues.
Congratulations, come to the pros. Same as the amateurs?
No, not at all. Big jump, no headgear, shirt off.
Shannon kept striking while the iron was hot, dispatching 3 more guys inside of a round. In 5 months, the heavy-hitting maestro bulldozed through 10 opponents. 9 of them adorned the canvas with their discombobulated bodies. And just like that, every boxing fan was put on notice about the young gun, appropriately named the Cannon. While Iron Mike was behind bars, Briggs got declared the second coming of Tyson. Possessing such calamitous power and towering at 6 feet 4 inches tall, he would send people into the dark void one after another.
Uppercut back nose on the left. It's finding an awkward target for Briggs. There's a left hand.
The first one to give him a challenge was Mark Young, who made it a good scrap back in '94.
Well, never made it here, so it's Young who has stepped in. And Mark Young made it clear to us. He didn't come here to lose.
Both athletes threw caution to the wind in 2 straight rounds. The vet proved susceptible to long-range blasts.
Pretty much controls the tempo. He rips off a combination. I haven't seen Shannon. Oh my, big runner.
And endured the explosions in the pocket.
Double up.
Briggs particularly focused on the midsection. Mark slowed down and got lost in the fog of war. With a minute left on the clock, Shannon went all in. That same year, Briggs's millstones grinded the respectable Jimmy Ellis.
Handed heavyweight, several time Golden Glove champion in New York with Teddy Atlas, who's scoring us not a lot of feeling out process.
The rest of the opposition couldn't withstand the cannon's might either. And Shannon closed the year of 1994 with a record of 20-0, including 17 knockouts, 12 of them in the opening stretch.
Join Planet Fitness today and start getting that big fitness energy for $1 down, $10 a month. Cancel anytime.
In January 1995, Briggs faced Craig Payne, who in fact started boxing just to lose weight. The pudgy Major Payne casually swallowed continuous jabs
The delaying tactics
and proved to have a solid belly all around.
usually takes him a run shorter.
Shannon didn't want to risk it with a boxer who once defeated a young Tyson and went the distance. As Briggs made it to the top 25 and realized that dragging fights to decisions wasn't gonna cut it, he redeemed himself in short time.
Jones weighing in at 19 stone and 9 pounds and under pressure early on here. What a start this is from Shannon Briggs, the New Yorker. Beaten by Bone Crusher Smith, Tony Tucker, Brand Poker.
A year later, the Cannon was back on a run of 3 unfortunate opponents.
Well, what a start this by Shannon Briggs. And it's all over.
They never lasted until the 3rd minute.
Well, there's so much time. Oh, the gum show's gone now. From the right hand, and gripping him. Big bother now. And it's all over, surely.
Instead, he rushed after Shannon Briggs, and he has paid the price. Shannon Briggs
body shots
to end this fight.
Now he should have tried to hang on, and that's it.
In 1996, Shannon was matched against the unbeaten finisher, Darrell Wilson. A ticket to the upper echelon was at stake, and Briggs promised to bring Big Cannon energy. He jumped headfirst into a ferocious slugfest.
Left hook by Briggs. Darrell Wilson has never been knocked down, but Briggs has twice connected now with that left hook.
Wilson was put on skates right away.
Another left hook lands. Wilson wobbly. Briggs trying to finish him right away, as he's done in each of the last 3 bouts.
Not giving in to fear, Darrell launched a counteroffensive.
There'll be no first-round knockout tonight.
Albeit winded, Shannon unloaded consecutive concussive shots in the 2nd frame.
Briggs again getting hit.
Still, he shouldn't have lingered on the inside in the 3rd.
Briggs landed a straight right hand.
You don't have to reach out. Briggs, you gotta understand that.
After receiving a cut, Briggs lost concentration and stayed within point-blank range.
He bumped the right eye. And that's a big target for Wilson, and he floors Shannon Briggs. This is over.
Clocked with a left hook, Shannon realized he was no longer at the top of the food chain for the first time. That hit wasn't the hardest one. The boxer parted ways with Teddy Atlas and learned about his mother's passing the day he turned 25. Disappearing for a while, Briggs was uncharacteristically inactive, competing just 4 times in a year and a half.
Competition early. Watch out for that first one. And Bowen goes down.
Nevertheless, his warheads kept finding their targets at will.
Every time Bowen has stepped up in the front.
This was enough for Briggs to get his dream match versus George Foreman in 1997. With 68 knockouts and 80 bouts, Big George had been scaring people to death since the 70s.
A right uppercut, a left jab, and all vicious.
The terrifying Tank could still throw heat even in the 90s,
Making that fight.
becoming the division's oldest champion in history. Briggs hopped on the bike at the outset, and they engaged in an enchanting routine of jabs.
Foreman working behind.
It depends on the money, Lance.
Piercing shots to the torso.
Down here.
And uppercuts.
Ring and stays away from
The key difference was Shannon's left hook, delivered with metronomic regularity.
70% sooner or later, meaning
Meanwhile, George invested in his signature overhand right.
in his contest now, he's back in the country. You see that?
Briggs caught the rhythm at the midpoint with combinations to all levels.
Hard right hand. Punching George right there. He's got to try to get
And tagged Foreman with single detonations.
Harold Letterman gave him the round also.
But in the 8th, the tables turned dramatically.
Particularly against the fighter.
Foreman nailed him with a big right and took the round from the seemingly idle cannon.
Low, very more so.
In the following 3 minutes, Briggs willed himself to restore the status quo. Even still, the old guard wouldn't give in to the 25-year-old contender.
Knockout. Totally one-sided affair. The two had dominated with body punching. Oh, that was a good body shot by Shannon. Hard right hand to the body.
George kept it wildly competitive in the 11th. To close the show, the 48-year-old Foreman floored the gas pedal and broke Shannon's nose.
If he can choose his opponents, this count.
With the roaring crowd thirsty for blood, Briggs located the target and banked the classic ending.
Seconds to go. Point, but to our eyes, it appears he's not in danger.
In the span of 36 minutes, the athletes produced nearly 1,000 punches. Despite Foreman's lead in significant strikes, the controversial decision and $400,000 of prize money went to Briggs. George received a consolation prize of $5 million, retiring with a big fat check.
I'll see you later.
The industrial grade products you need. Granger, for the ones who get it done.
As for Briggs, he cashed in on the opportunity to challenge for the WBC belt held by Lennox Lewis. The Olympic gold medalist was in the midst of his quest for the undisputed heavyweight belt, the very quest that would see the entire aristocracy of the 90s buried.
Job, 4 pounds.
Oh! Wonderful shot!
You can't take that one.
In March 1998, pundits gave Briggs little chance, spurring Lewis to charge forward.
Too far forward and driven back in his corner. Big key in many of his fights.
Shannon slowed him down.
The story of this fight is can Briggs do
Fraud checked the abdomen. And the battle for the best hairstyle in the division title became intriguing.
puts itself up. The fight is a hook by Briggs. Now Briggs taking his chance. The hook to Lewis.
Lewis was never the running type. Turns out, it depends on who's chasing him.
Chopping right hand, and Lewis is reeling. Here comes Briggs with a leaping left hand. Lewis
Saved by the bell, Lewis started putting punches together in the second stretch
by Briggs.
and utilized the right hand more often. Against all odds, this dark horse was still kicking.
Well, Briggs shakes his head. Yes, a good hook by Briggs. Lewis again. Back to the corner. Briggs throwing all out.
Roles then got reversed. Briggs attempted to fend off with his lead hand,
Trying to get the right hand.
while Lewis aggressively stormed the breaches.
By Lewis. Uppercut by Lewis. Good shot at... No.
Before the fourth round began, they both smiled. But Shannon's playfulness quickly faded.
It has been excellent thus far.
Blood boiled, sweat droplets scattered across the canvas, and Briggs melted for the first time.
Both fighters sprinted out of the gate, and Briggs is down. If you hold on to the ropes for support, it can be called a knockdown.
He struggled to get off the hook for a whole minute.
Right cross by Lennox Lewis. Briggs is game, but gets driven back again. Lewis has an opportunity. How tired is he? Good punch by Lewis. 3 shots there.
A glimmer of hope shined for a moment,
Gets hit by Briggs.
only to dim again.
Both fighters too tired to finish it, and Briggs is down again.
In the fifth, the Black Mesa entered its final stage. While Shannon's heart refused to plunge into the abyss of despair, the body wasn't so unwavering.
And Briggs is down. It may be it. He was rocked. He shows his gameness in the crowd with disbelief on his face. How many times does he have to put Briggs down before this will be over? These are big shots.
He stood up again and fell victim to his own fervor.
Shots by Lewis. Uppercut. Left hook. The right hand. Briggs goes down on his own accord. And it's over. He's telling Briggs.
Spinning a carousel in the champion's head
Puts himself up. Fight is a hook by Briggs.
and nearly making him flee the ring.
Chopping right hand, and Lewis is reeling. Here comes Briggs.
Briggs heroically endured 3 knockdowns.
And Briggs is down. His fighter sprinted out of the gate, and Briggs is down. And Briggs make it.
However, his inability to maintain balance eventually resulted in a stoppage.
Champion of the world, Shannon.
The $1 million of prize money was spent in 9 months, so the American Cannon made a comeback and launched a victorious salvo. As usual, the opponent bowed out in less than a round.
Stance. Again, is the shot. Shannon, he just had a birthday on the 4th of January. 73 summer.
Around the turn of the century, talks of a showdown with Tyson arose. But first Shannon had to go through Francois Botha. The South African was a former IBF champion and occupied a contender spot in the Royal Division. The
You just want to leave. 12 hours of uninterrupted arthritis pain relief. Aleve.
He relentlessly catapulted the right hand
Briggs does have the shot talking to him like he did his last fight. Good right hand.
and skillfully switched targets on his brilliant jab. Shannon didn't forget the patented bodywork either.
He's still got a tone.
In the third stretch, both decided to show why they called him the White Buffalo.
He's letting.
Oh, there's a smacking left hook.
And the Warriors kicked it up a notch.
Both are doing it right now.
An overhand right. Well, this
They continued to rack up the punch counter.
What the man was sort of talking about. So when get out of the way, he's starting to time it. He throws a punch out just right there. Briggs is winning.
And when the roar of the cannon began to damage the eardrums,
What appears to be not very quick right hand.
Francois returned the favor in spades.
the double left jab. There it is.
There's Briggs has got in his jaw.
Overhand right.
In response, Shannon tried to rush his way in,
Shannon Briggs to the chin of Francois Botha.
yet he unwisely threw away the red cape
Off the top of the head goes Briggs.
and ended up mano a mano with a raging bull in a squared circle.
He's just toying with the left, nails it with the right.
In the second half, it became clear that the fighters watched the Rocky movies too many times.
An abrasion above the right eye of Botha with just a cut over the left eye. Briggs.
The astonished spectators witnessed the initiative change hands more often than Snoop Dogg's blunt.
Those wild lefts against Lennox Lewis. And both are just walked into
Ridiculous. I cannot understand. I cannot understand.
Late into the 8th, Briggs dug deep, spelling trouble for the enemy.
that eye. It could be. There's a straight right hand by Briggs. His best front. One of the both is down. It's a knockdown.
Shannon couldn't finish him off, though.
It's again.
Hanging in there. It's all hard.
As the curtain was falling, 2 ring gladiators charged into battle again.
You saw what he was doing. That was one of my keys too. You had to land that right hand, get into that work there.
For there were still things to destroy
There's no question of praise by both of them. It's the praise of
and men to cripple.
What a powerful overhand right by Botha. Another straight right hand by Botha. Oh, just before the bell. Botha comes on big.
The 10-round marathon of adrenaline-fueled rage ended without a clear winner. The judges were divided in their opinion, and the intense melee was declared a draw. Despite sending people rolling left and right, Briggs would spend 6 years stuck in the friend zone of boxing organizations. During this stretch, the cannon's caliber grew up to 260 pounds, and he flattened 10 bodies in 12 battles. The American also managed to endeavor into K1, getting acquainted with Tom Erickson's low kicks.
Kick the shit out of me, champ.
Yeah.
I think I'm the first guy ever to scream in the history.
Luckily, Shannon pulled the plug just in time.
I mean, he came in to punch at that point. And when he came in to punch, right, poof, hit him, champ.
Outside the ropes, Briggs was equally successful. His curly hair shined in Brooklyn Bros music clips, and he made appearances on the big screen in blockbuster movies worldwide. In 2005, Shannon had a chance to climb out of the ranking purgatory. Undefeated African fighter Abraham Okine promised to wage war, but showed up without a helmet.
Fought Tony Toms when he was 45 years old, and they traded knockdowns in the first round.
Briggs, on the other hand, brought the cannons with him.
They trade left hands, now a right hand over the top from Shannon Briggs, and O'Kine goes down.
He quickly came out for an encore.
Quite a lot. Second knockdown scored on this first round.
The lack of combat ideas was evident for Okine,
Notwithstanding, at the end of the punches of O'Kine.
and Shannon made him dance.
Moments of what has been a big first round for Shannon Briggs. He gets him again. O'Kine saved by
Abraham watched himself get brutalized for 2 more rounds,
Briggs. A name
until Briggs got bored.
is away from the game. Now there's a couple good left hands and a big right hand.
The American's left hook could not miss. He added an overhand and ended the shift early.
He's away from the game. Now there's a couple good left hands and a big right hand.
Soon after, Briggs crossed paths with Olympic champion and former WBO monarch Ray Mercer. Boasting 34 wins and 25 KOs under his belt, Ray was no stranger to spectacular destructions. Mercer had only been finished by Vladimir Klitschko, only succumbing to a standing knockdown. So he took the opening bombardments well. Ray responded with a rapier-like jab, and also went hunting for the head. Briggs paid back in a series of exchanges, landing swift 1-2s, and neutralizing Mercer's lead hand with overhand counters. He never stopped blasting the left either. Mercer frantically bit back from time to time, causing the fans to flinch regularly. Nevertheless, by the second half, Shannon settled in the driver's seat. And Ray suddenly got teleported into the neighboring dimension. Clocked with a sneaky left hook to the temple, Mercer began to sink into darkness. Briggs casually threw a couple of concrete blocks on the drowning man. This opportunity was precisely what 34-year-old Shannon had been waiting for. And with a series of early gambits, he collected secondary belts of all four major federations.
You looked like you were having a little bit of fun in there. I'm happy, I'm comfortable, I'm strong. I'm a heavyweight. That's what I'm gonna fight, heavy. And I eat a lot.
Rolling in dough, Briggs received a title shot against the WBO champion, Sergey Liakhovich.
I've been around a long time, but I'm a lot younger than people assume me to be. I'm 34. They got me listed as 44, basically, in people's mind. But
the Belarusian got caught under the tank treads at the outset.
And now he finally goes on the attack. Briggs swinging with rights, left hooks to the body. Liakhovich steps back, and a couple of good left hooks to the head by Briggs, and follows it up with...
But Sergey had seen much worse when the Soviet Union fell apart.
A big right hand to the head by...
Managed to seize the initiative with merciless bodywork.
Came in at 268. It's much...
And unexpected transfers up top.
It was two good jabs, but he doesn't follow it up. Combination of work. Now, the conventional wisdom is that we're headed into rounds in which...
Briggs would respond with meaningful shots.
Couple of right hands, he's more active. That's pretty obvious. And now he is, and he's landed the heavyweight title as the challenger.
In the second half, he kept looking for another one-hitter quitter, while Liakhovich chained things together beautifully.
Are the answer. He's landed.
In the later rounds, Shannon brought in artillery support.
The big right hand by Briggs. Wow. That got Sergey's attention. It was a sentiment from him. Oh, big wicket. There's a big right hand again.
Just before the final bell, the Belarusian got fed up
Significant shots.
and buckled.
Big right hand by Briggs. Looking to follow it up with a left. The right down goes Liakhovich.
The end game approached its last moments.
This breakthrough. He's got to survive. Can Liakhovich make it to the end? Come back to the head. Oh, look out. Liakhovich down.
Landing a couple of rights and knocking Liakhovich out of the ropes, Briggs pulled off a sensational ending with a second left to go and claimed the championship strap.
I'm crazy, man.
A year down the line, the threat to his reign came in the form of Sultan Ibragimov. The Olympic silver medalist with a flawless record of 20-0 was known for having a dynamite left hand.
Moving left hand. Not a good thing.
Briggs started out strong.
Можно отметить, что в принципе он в ринге боксер спокойный, если его не ломают, если он не нарывает. Они понимают это все, но...
Yet the pneumonia bout he had suffered earlier drained the gas tank.
Жесткий удар.
Важно все-таки не попасть здесь в размение, потому что...
Воспоминание от укола нокаутировало его в пятом раунде.
Leaving him unable to keep up with the Dagestani boxer's assaults.
Тут может в любой момент. Очень трудно, если человек, который отказывается расстыкивать, не входить в...
Shannon still had explosive moments.
Большое впечатление в очередной раз. И им воспользовался вот таким сильным ударом.
And yet, in the end, Ibragimov emerged victorious in the judges' eyes.
Я думаю, что мог нарваться на неприятности. Налево. Бриггса своего главного оружия. Это мощно.
Losing the decision and the title, Briggs left boxing. Only to make a grand comeback 2 years later. Upon his return, he racked up 4 knockouts. As always, all in the first round. Among the victims was the future WBC and IBF champion, Rob Calloway, who promptly earned Shannon a shot at a prestigious belt. His opponent, Vitaly Klitschko, had not lost in 7 years, held the WBC championship gold, and boasted an impressive stat of 38 KOs in 40 triumphs.
Wegstecken kann. Aber jetzt! Jetzt
Right hand lands again.
Aware of the danger in front, Briggs was cautious to engage in an all-out brawl. Protruding his head out rarely and tentatively. Vitali, on the other hand, showed zero self-doubt. Commanding space with the lead hand throughout all 12 rounds. Had fun on the counter. And delivered powerful right hands in abundance. To give credit where it's due, unlike Klitschko's previous foes, Shannon had no intention of going down. Courageously lasting to see the final bell. Accepting the one-sided verdict and making no excuses, 38-year-old Briggs retired from boxing with a bag of money in hand.
How would you assess your career? Many have thought that maybe you've been an underachiever.
You know, where I came from, it was rough, and I'm way out of the ghetto, I'm way out of the hood. I'm feeling good about that, and I'm doing good for myself. I got a great family, 2 beautiful children. I'm doing great.